This video is about SHE waited at the amusement park, and a millionaire offered his help. If this story touches your heart, please mention where you are watching from in the comments. Please like the video and share your thoughts in comments. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a golden hue over the bustling amusement park. Laughter echoed through the air, blending with the distant screams of thrill-seekers riding the roller coasters. Cotton candy wafted its sugary scent, while the music from carnival games played a cheerful tune that seemed to energize the very ground beneath her feet. Yet, Emily stood apart from it all, her heart pounding not from excitement but from the weight of anticipation. She checked her watch for the third time in as many minutes. There was still no sign of Lucas. They had planned this day for weeks, a chance to escape their mundane routines and embrace the whimsy of youth. But now, standing in front of the giant Ferris wheel, her heart sank a little more with each tick of the clock. Emily had always loved the amusement park. As a child, her parents used to bring her here, and she would run around, her laughter mingling with the whirls and twirls of the rides. But today felt different. Today, the vibrant colors and cheerful sounds faded into the background as she felt the familiar sting of disappointment. Lucas had been late before, and she had always brushed it off, telling herself that life was unpredictable. But today, something felt different. "Hey, are you waiting for someone?" The voice jolted her from her thoughts. She turned to see a man standing beside her, casually leaning against the railing that bordered the Ferris wheel. He looked like he had just stepped out of a magazine, tall, with tousled dark hair and a tailored suit that accentuated his athletic build. His deep-set blue eyes sparkled with a hint of mischief, and there was an air of confidence about him that was both intimidating and alluring. Emily hesitated, caught off guard by his sudden presence. Yes, just a friend," she stammered, trying to regain her composure. How did he seem so effortlessly charming? The man smiled, revealing a set of perfect teeth. "A friend who's running fashionably late, I presume. I can relate." He glanced at the Ferris wheel, then back at her. "I'm Mark, by the way." "Emily," she replied, forcing a smile. "And yes, he's late. It's not like him, though." Mark's eyes softened. Maybe he got caught up in the thrill of the games or was lured in by the scent of funnel cake. It happens to the best of us. He gestured toward the nearby food stalls, where the tempting aroma wafted through the air. Emily couldn't help but chuckle. "You might be right, but I was counting on this being a fun day, not just a waiting game." "Then let's not let your day go to waste," he said, his voice warm and inviting. "How about I help you make the most of your time? I promise I won't let you regret it." Before she could respond, Mark extended his hand, a playful glint in his eyes. Emily studied him for a moment, a mix of curiosity and caution bubbling within her. She could see why he was captivating. He exuded a magnetic charm that made her heartbeat quicken. But the memory of Lucas's late promise tugged at her. "I don't know," she began, but the words slipped away as she felt the thrill of spontaneity pull at her. "Just for a little while," Mark urged, lowering his voice as if sharing a secret. "I'm just a guy looking for some fun, and I bet you could use a distraction. What do you say?" Finally, she relented and placed her hand in his. "Okay, just for a bit." With a triumphant smile, Mark led her away from the Ferris wheel, weaving through the crowd. The park was alive, a blend of energy and excitement that began to seep into her bones. They stopped at a game booth where a vendor was showcasing a large stuffed bear, its beady eyes sparkling under the afternoon sun. "Let's win you that bear," Mark declared, his enthusiasm infectious. "Do you really think you can?" She teased, her heart fluttering with anticipation. She had never been one to play games like this, finding them often rigged and unfair. Mark leaned closer, his breath brushing against her ear. "You underestimate me, Emily. I never back down from a challenge." The playful air between them was electric, thick with unspoken possibilities. He stepped up to the booth, tossing a few dollars onto the counter. "2 darts, please," he said confidently, his eyes never leaving the target. Emily watched him as he drew back his arm, his focus intense. The first dart flew through the air but missed the target completely. Mark chuckled, unfazed. That was just to warm up. He threw the second dart with precision, and it struck the target dead center. The vendor's eyes widened in surprise as he handed the stuffed bear over, a trophy of Mark's triumph. Mark turned back to Emily with a triumphant grin, holding the bear out to her. "For you." She laughed, her cheeks flushing. "You really didn't have to do that. Consider it a token of our adventure," he said, his eyes sparkling with mischief. "Besides, every day needs a little whimsy." As they walked further into the park, Emily felt her initial reservations begin to fade. The conversations flowed easily between them, every shared laugh weaving a connection she hadn't anticipated. Mark was attentive, genuinely interested in her stories about her life and aspirations. She found herself sharing details about her work as a graphic designer, her dreams of creating art that inspired others, and the vibrant sketches that adorned her sketchbook. Mark listened, nodding, his expression thoughtful. "You have a passion for creating," he remarked. "That's a rare quality. Most people settle for the ordinary." She appreciated his praise but felt a twinge of vulnerability. "I guess I've always believed in the beauty of imagination. It's what keeps life interesting." "Exactly," he said, his voice low and sincere. "And you have a spark, Emily, it shows." Their conversation ebbed and flowed seamlessly, an effortless dance of words punctuated by laughter and light teasing. Mark found ways to make her feel special, each compliment layered with a sincerity that made her heart flutter. Just when she thought she could easily dismiss this chance encounter, she found herself enthralled by his presence, caught in the compelling magnetism that surrounded him. As they approached the towering roller coaster, the colorful cars swooping wildly through the air, Mark turned to her, a playful challenge glinting in his eyes. "What do you say? Are you brave enough to take the plunge?" Emily hesitated, staring up at the steep incline that seemed to touch the clouds, her heart racing at the thought. "I've never been great with heights." "Then today is the day you conquer that fear," he urged, his voice steady, encouraging. "Besides, I'll be right next to you. What could possibly go wrong?" She didn't know if it was his confidence or the thrill of the day that made her agree, but soon they were standing in line, adrenaline bubbling beneath her skin. As they climbed into the roller coaster seats, their thighs brushed against each other, the rush of anticipation mingling with an electric charge that made her acutely aware of him. With a loud click, the safety bar locked in place and the roller coaster began its ascent. Emily took a deep breath, glancing sideways at Mark, who looked positively exhilarated. "Ready?" he asked, a hint of mischief dancing in his eyes. "Ready as I'll ever be," she replied, her voice shaking slightly. As they crested the hill and plunged downwards, filled with screams of joy and exhilaration, Emily realized that she was not just riding the roller coaster. She was embarking on an unexpected adventure, one that she had not planned, but one that felt oddly right. After the ride, laughter spilled from her lips and she caught her breath, her heart racing not just from the thrill but from the closeness they had shared in that moment. As she turned to Mark, their eyes locked, and for a brief moment the world around them faded away. In the chaos of the amusement park, with the sounds of joy swirling around them, Emily wondered if perhaps life had a way of bringing unexpected encounters when one needed them the most. She didn't know where the day would lead, but for now, she was simply grateful for the chance to escape, to laugh, and to explore the unknown with this intriguing man by her side. The exhilarating rush of the roller coaster slowly faded, leaving Emily breathless and giddy. She leaned against the railing overlooking the ride's exit, her heart still thumping in her chest, not just from the thrill, but also from the closeness she felt with Mark. He stood beside her, his smile wide and infectious, his eyes sparkling with excitement. "See, I knew you had it in you," he said, nudging her playfully with his shoulder. "You were a natural out there." Emily laughed, still feeling the remnants of adrenaline coursing through her veins. "I think I was more of a screaming natural," she replied, brushing a stray strand of hair from her face, a smile lingering on her lips. Mark chuckled, his gaze fixed on her, the way the sunlight caught in her hair creating a halo effect. And for a moment, the noise of the park around them fell silent. "You know," he started, his tone shifting to something more sincere, "it's rare to find someone willing to step out of their comfort zone and try something new. You have a spark, Emily." She felt a warmth spread through her at his words, a soft blush creeping up to her cheeks. "I appreciate that, but honestly, I think it was more your encouragement than anything else. I don't usually take risks like that." "Then I'm glad to be your bad influence for the day," he said, a playful glint returning to his eyes. "What do you say we keep the momentum going? There's this haunted house I've heard about. They say it's terrifying." Emily raised an eyebrow, a mix of curiosity and trepidation creeping in. "Terrifying, huh? You might regret asking me to join you after that." His laughter was rich and genuine, wrapping around her like a warm blanket. "Bring it on. I'll protect you from all the ghosts and ghouls." Something tugged at her, a realization that his charm was too easy, too intoxicating. She thought of Lucas, of the plans they had made, and the time they were supposed to spend together. As she hesitated, the weight of her unfulfilled expectations crept back in, dimming the spark Mark ignited. "I'm not sure if I should." "Hey," Mark interrupted gently, his expression shifting to one of understanding. "I get it. You have someone you're waiting for, but what if he doesn't show? Life's too short to spend it waiting. I promise I won't bite much." He winked playfully, easing her tension. She couldn't help but smile at his attempt to lighten the moment. "Okay, fine. Let's do it. Just one haunted house, and then I promise I'll keep an eye out for my friend." "Deal," he exclaimed, his enthusiasm infectious. They made their way toward the entrance, the path winding through a series of eerie decorations. Fake cobwebs and skeletons hung from the trees, creating an atmosphere that was both thrilling and slightly unnerving. As they approached the entrance, the air thickened with anticipation. "You ready for this?" Mark asked, leaning closer, their arms brushing against each other. "Not even a little," Emily admitted, her heart racing with a blend of fear and excitement. "But then again, I've already survived a roller coaster today." "Exactly." He grinned, his confidence steadying her nerves. "You're practically unstoppable." They stepped into the darkened corridor of the haunted house, the air cooler inside, and the sounds of unsettling whispers filled the space. Emily's breath hitched slightly as they moved deeper into the dark maze. Shadows danced along the walls, and she felt Mark's presence beside her, a reassuring anchor. "Stay close," he murmured, leaning in just enough to share his warmth. "I promise I'll keep you safe." "Great," she replied, her voice just above a whisper. They turned a corner and suddenly a ghostly figure jumped out at them, wailing with delight. Emily squealed, instinctively grabbing onto Mark's arm, her heart hammering in her chest. "See, this is fun," he teased, glancing down at her with a mix of amusement and admiration. "Fun?" she echoed, trying to catch her breath. "If by fun you mean heart attack imminent, then yes, absolutely." Mark laughed, a deep, resonating sound that eased the tension in her shoulders. "Just a few more scares and we'll be out of here. Trust me." Emily found herself letting go, if only just a little, letting the thrill wash over her. They weaved through the dark spaces, each twist and turn accompanied by a new jump scare that elicited squeals and laughter from both of them. But it wasn't just the scares that made her heart race. It was the way Mark's presence felt safe yet exciting, like standing on the edge of a cliff with a gust of wind urging her to jump. As they rounded the final corner, the exit loomed ahead, bright lights flooding the space in stark contrast to the dark maze. Emily let out a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding, and Mark's laughter bubbled up beside her. "We made it," he declared, holding his arms wide in triumph as if they had conquered a great battle together. "Barely," she replied, shaking her head with a smile. "That was intense." "It was." Mark stepped closer, their eyes meeting in that electric space where the world around them faded once again. "And you were brave." "Only because of you," she admitted, her heart fluttering at the intimacy of the moment. Emily felt the air shift, the tension between them palpable. She was aware of his gaze, the way he studied her as if he were trying to memorize every detail, and a delicious thrill coursed through her, mingled with the hesitation of her commitments. "Emily," he began, his voice dropping to that familiar low tone that made her stomach flutter. "I know this is all sudden, and I don't want to impose, but I don't want to walk away from today without knowing you better. Can we?" The quiet hope in his voice made her heart race. She had been living in the predictable rhythm of her life for so long, and here he was, offering something raw and new. The thought of Lucas flickered through her mind, a shadow against the brightness of her budding connection with Mark. "Let's get some ice cream," she blurted, her instincts kicking in to deflect the intensity of the moment but also to prolong it. "I mean, it's hot, and we just survived a haunted house." Mark's smile returned, bright as sunlight piercing through clouds. "Ice cream it is, your treat for being so brave." She laughed, the tension easing slightly. "I think you owe me for those screaming fits, don't you?" "Taché," he conceded, playfully raising his hands in mock surrender. "Lead the way, brave adventurer." As they strolled toward the ice cream stand, she felt lighter, the worries that had anchored her drifting away with each step. She glanced sideways at Mark, who was animatedly discussing his favorite flavors and toppings, the way his eyes lit up with each word only deepening her intrigue. "Chocolate fudge brownie is where it's at," he insisted, as they approached the stand. "You might be tempted to try something less adventurous, but I promise you it's the best." Okay, you win. "But only if you try mint chocolate chip," she countered, her playful spirit surfacing. "Mint chocolate chip," he feigned horror. "You're trying to ruin my ice cream experience." They exchanged jovial banter as they ordered, the ice cream stand a little oasis of joy amid the park's frenzy. Mark's laughter mingled with hers, creating a symphony that felt like the heartbeat of this unexpected day. As they found a quiet spot to sit, the sun beginning its descent, painting the sky with hues of violet and orange, Mark turned serious again, his expression softening. "I know we just met, but I can't help but feel like there's something special about today. Something about you." Emily's heart fluttered, the weight of his words pressing against her chest. "It feels that way to me too," she admitted, feeling a rush of vulnerability wash over her. "But I don't want to rush into anything. I have someone who's, well, waiting for me." "I understand," he replied, his voice steady but tinged with a hint of disappointment. "I just can't shake the feeling that we clicked, you know. Life is unpredictable, and sometimes it throws people together for a reason." She looked into his eyes, searching for the truth behind his words. "What do you think we should do with that, then?" "Let's enjoy this moment, whatever it may lead to," he suggested, his gaze unwavering. "Life's too short to play it safe all the time." Emily bit her lip, torn between the familiar and the unknown. She wanted to run away from the emotional storm brewing inside her, but at the same time, the connection she felt with Mark was undeniable, a spark igniting a fire long buried under the weight of expectations. "Okay, let's enjoy it," she finally said, her heart thumping as she reached for her ice cream. "Just don't be surprised if I scream at you a few more times today." Mark's laughter rang out, a beautiful sound that made her heart swell. "Bring it on, Emily." Emily sat on the bench, ice cream in hand, feeling a blend of sweetness and uncertainty wash over her. The cool treat melted slowly, dribbling onto the paper cone, but she couldn't quite focus on it. Instead, her thoughts were consumed by Mark, who sat opposite her, mirroring her feelings of exhilaration and confusion. With the sun dipping low, the golden hour cast a warm glow around them, transforming the amusement park into a surreal landscape of colors and laughter. Mark leaned back, his eyes sparkling with mischief, as he took a generous lick of his chocolate fudge brownie ice cream. "See, aren't you glad I persuaded you? This is what summer is all about." "Okay, I'll admit it," Emily said, her smile betraying her playful agreement. "This is pretty great, but I still can't believe you tried to convince me to abandon my friend for ice cream." Mark raised an eyebrow, a playful smirk curling his lips. "I didn't make you do anything. You chose this adventure, remember? Besides, I'd say we've made some pretty solid memories today. The haunted house and roller coaster are definitely bonus points." The way he spoke, with an ease that felt both refreshing and unsettling, sent a thrill through her. But she couldn't shake the nagging thoughts of Lucas, the friend she had been waiting for. They had shared countless plans, promises of fun days like this. But as Emily looked at Mark, she felt a pull, a different kind of promise, one filled with spontaneity and excitement. "I did choose this," she acknowledged quietly, her voice a mix of contemplation and vulnerability. "But it still feels strange to be here with you, enjoying all of this, while I was supposed to be here with him." Mark's expression softened, the teasing glint in his eyes replaced with something deeper, more genuine. "I understand," he replied, leaning forward slightly. "But sometimes life throws unexpected moments your way, moments that remind you of who you are outside of your commitments. It's okay to explore that." Emily looked down at her melting ice cream, the colorful sprinkles beginning to blur together. "I guess I've been so focused on my commitments that I've forgotten to enjoy the little things." "Then today is a reminder," Mark said softly, and the weight of his words wrapped around her like a warm embrace. "Let's cherish this adventure. Tomorrow is another day. We can figure out the rest later." His sincerity struck a chord deep within her. Emily felt a flicker of rebellion against the mundane, a desire to embrace the freedom this moment offered. "Okay, so what's next on the adventure agenda?" she asked, trying to keep the playful tone alive. Mark's eyes lit up as he contemplated. "We could take a ride on the Ferris wheel and catch the sunset. Or we could see if we can find more ridiculous games to play. I hear there's a ring toss that's just as impossible as it sounds." "Sunset sounds good," she said, her heart quickening at the thought of being up high, suspended in the air with him by her side. The Ferris wheel loomed in the distance, a giant structure against the vibrant sky, and she felt a rush of anticipation. "Lead the way, brave adventurer," Mark echoed with a playful flourish, standing up and extending his arm in a mock gesture of chivalry. Emily rolled her eyes with a laugh, but accepted his hand as they made their way back toward the Ferris wheel. As they approached, the sounds of the park faded into a soft hum, replaced by the gentle creaking of the enormous wheel. They climbed into a car together, their legs brushing against each other once more. Emily's heart raced, not just from the height but from the closeness, the intoxicating energy that buzzed between them. "Ready?" Mark asked, his voice a mix of excitement and mischief. "Ready as I'll ever be," she replied, her breath catching as the car began to ascend. They climbed higher, the ground below shrinking, the thrill of the height sending a flutter through her stomach. "Look," Mark said, pointing out at the sprawling park. "You can see the whole place from up here. It's beautiful." Emily turned her gaze away from him to the view, her breath momentarily taken away by the sheer expanse of color before them. The vibrant lights of the carnival games, the laughter of children, and the distant sound of a live band playing upbeat tunes. The sun dipped lower on the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. "It really is stunning," she admitted, her voice a mix of awe and wonder. "I never realized just how magical this place could be." "Just like you," he said, his voice low and earnest, sending another rush of heat through her. She turned to him, startled by the intensity of his gaze, the way his eyes held hers, as if searching for something deeper. "Mark," she began, feeling the moment linger, charged with chemistry and unspoken words. But before she could finish, the car crested the top of the wheel, and they paused, suspended in that beautiful moment, the world laid out before them like a vibrant tapestry. "Wow," he breathed, pulling her attention back to the view. "What do you see?" Emily took a breath, trying to steady her racing heart. "I see possibilities," she said softly, her gaze drifting over the park, taking in the laughter, the lights, the joy. "And I see a chance to be free, if only for a moment." Mark looked at her, a slow smile spreading across his face. "That's a beautiful way to put it. Life's too short to be held captive by our routines, don't you think?" Before she could respond, the car began to descend, and with it, the magic of the moment seemed to wane. They landed back on solid ground, but the lingering tension remained. Mark stepped out first, helping her down with a gentleness that sent warmth coursing through her. As they walked away from the Ferris wheel, Emily felt the electricity between them crackle anew. "So, ice cream and Ferris wheel, what's next?" Mark asked, casually leaning against the railing that overlooked the park. "I think maybe we should find a game that we both can try," Emily suggested, her mind racing with the thrill of spontaneity. "Something that involves teamwork. I'm in the mood for a challenge." Mark's eyes sparkled and his smile broadened. "Oh, I'm all in for a challenge. Let's show this park what we're made of." They made their way to a nearby game booth, where a ring toss promised a chance to win even more oversized stuffed animals. As they approached, the vendor greeted them with a broad grin. "Welcome. Who's ready to try their luck?" "We are," Mark declared, tossing a couple of bills onto the counter. "2 sets of rings, please, and don't hold back on the challenge." Emily watched as Mark picked up the rings, his focus sharpening as he surveyed the targets lined up before them. His competitive spirit ignited something in her, urging her to join in the fun. She grabbed a ring, feeling the weight of it in her hand, and lined up next to him. "Ready?" he asked, his eyes glimmering with playful determination. "Ready," she echoed, her heart pounding with excitement. With a flick of her wrist, Emily tossed the ring, and it sailed gracefully through the air, only to bounce off the target and land in the booth's shadowed corner. Mark chuckled, a warm sound that filled her with eager determination. "Okay, my turn," he said, stepping up to the line. He took a deep breath and with a flick of his wrist, sent the ring flying. It landed perfectly around a bottle, eliciting cheers from the vendor. "See, it's all in the wrist action," Mark teased, grinning widely as he claimed his prize, a giant stuffed giraffe. "Show off," Emily retorted, but laughter bubbled up inside her. "You just wait, I'll get it this time." With a renewed sense of determination, she focused on the ring in her hand, and this time she threw it with all her might. To her surprise, it landed gracefully around a bottle, and she couldn't help but squeal in delight. "I did it," she exclaimed, her face lighting up. Mark reached over to high-five her, their hands connecting in a moment that sent a rush of warmth through her. "I knew you could do it. Teamwork makes the dream work, right?" "Absolutely," Emily replied, her cheeks flushed with excitement. They claimed their prizes: Mark's giraffe and a small plush bear for her that was almost dwarfed by its companion. As they walked away from the booth, their prizes in hand, Emily felt a sense of camaraderie building between them, an unspoken connection that went beyond mere flirtation. The thrill of the day, the laughter, the shared experiences, it all wove a tapestry of something beautiful. "Okay, what's next?" she asked, her heart racing with anticipation. Mark looked thoughtful for a moment, his gaze scanning the amusement park. "How about the bumper cars? I can't let you get away without a good bumping session." "Bring it on," Emily challenged, her laughter echoing in the air as they made their way toward the bumper car arena. The thrill of the park enveloped them, and for the first time in what felt, as the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the colorful attractions, Emily felt a giddiness bubbling inside her. She had spent the last few hours lost in laughter and spontaneity, the weight of her unfulfilled plans with Lucas fading into the backdrop of her burgeoning adventure with Mark. The bumper car arena came into view, a vibrant chaos of bright colors and joyful screams. Emily's eyes lit up, a mixture of excitement and mischief sparkling in her gaze. "You really think you can handle my driving skills?" she teased, crossing her arms as they approached the entrance. Mark laughed, his expression filled with playful confidence. "Oh, I have no doubt I'll emerge victorious, but I'll admit the challenge makes it all the more fun." "Is that a dare?" she challenged, her heart racing at the thought of friendly competition. "Absolutely. Just be prepared to eat my dust," he replied, a devilish grin lighting up his face. As they climbed into their bumper cars, Emily glanced at him, feeling a rush of adrenaline as the attendant gave the signal to start. The moment the cars jolted forward, she seized the opportunity to charge at Mark, her heart pounding with exhilaration. "Watch out," she called, laughter bubbling up as she collided into his car with a satisfying thud. "Hey, no fair," he shouted, his voice laced with mock indignation. "You're supposed to drive, not ram me into oblivion." "Just trying to give you a taste of my skills," she countered, maneuvering her car to dodge his next advance. The playful chaos unfolded around them, other riders squealing and laughing as they crashed into each other, but all Emily could focus on was the thrill of the chase. Mark managed to catch up, bumping her car from behind, sending her spinning slightly. "Nice try, but you'll have to do better than that," he shouted, his competitive spirit shining through. "Challenge accepted," she yelled back, her laughter ringing out as she spun her car around with renewed energy, determined to outmaneuver him. She felt a surge of confidence, her heart racing with every bump and crash, especially as Mark leaned over, a playful gleam in his eyes. "Careful, or I might just have to turn up the heat," he teased, his tone flirtatious and full of mischief. With a thrilling shriek, she swerved to the side, narrowly avoiding another collision. "Bring it on, millionaire," she shot back, her spirit soaring with every turn and bump, feeling alive in a way she hadn't in ages. The ride seemed to stretch on forever, laughter and shouts filling the air around them, and with each playful bump, they drew closer. Mark was relentless, and his determination only fueled her excitement. "You can't outrun me forever, Emily," he called, the challenge hanging between them like unspoken promise. "I'm just getting started," she exclaimed, her heart racing as she finally managed to get a solid bump in on his car, sending him spinning into another bumper. Okay, you've got skills," he admitted, raising his hands in mock surrender. The moment stretched into a brief pause, and they both caught their breath, the laughter between them creating an electrifying tension that lingered in the air. As the ride came to an end, Emily climbed out of her bumper car with a grin plastered across her face. "I think I'm officially the bumper car champion," she declared, playfully waving her arms in victory. Only because I allowed you to win, Mark said, stepping out beside her, his laughter echoing her own. Oh, come on. Let's not pretend you didn't enjoy getting pummeled by my amazing driving skills, she countered, nudging him with her elbow. Fair enough, he relented, his tone light and teasing. But only if you're willing to admit that I have better taste in ice cream. I think we're just going to have to agree to disagree on that one, she replied, her eyes sparkling with playful defiance. As they walked away from the bumper car arena, Mark suddenly paused, his expression shifting to something more serious. Hey, can I ask you something? Sure, what's up? Emily replied, her smile fading slightly as she sensed a shift in the mood. He looked thoughtful, his brow furrowing. What are you looking for, Emily? In life, I mean. She hesitated, taken aback by the depth of his question amidst the light-hearted atmosphere they had created. Honestly, I guess I'm just trying to figure that out, she admitted, a hint of vulnerability creeping into her voice. I've been so focused on my job and keeping my commitments that I've lost sight of what makes me truly happy. Mark nodded, his gaze unwavering. I get that. Sometimes the expectations we set for ourselves can feel suffocating. You're talented and creative. You shouldn't have to sacrifice that for anyone else's timeline. His words resonated deeply within her. It's just hard. I feel like I'm stuck in this routine, waiting for things to change, but I don't know how to take that leap. What if today is your leap? He suggested gently, his voice steady. You took a chance by coming here, by hanging out with me instead of waiting. What if you kept that energy going? Emily thought about it, a wave of conflicting emotions washing over her. Mark had a way of making her feel seen, of peeling back the layers of her reservations and fears. I want to, she confessed, her heart racing. But what if I end up regretting it? Regret is part of life, he said softly. But so is living. You have to give yourself permission to explore, to feel. Today is proof that you can have fun even while juggling commitments. It's all about balance. With every word, he left an imprint on her heart. Emily certainly hadn't anticipated having such profound discussions with someone she had just met. Yet here they were, experiencing a connection that felt like a rare gift. Okay, I'll try, she said, feeling a surge of determination rise within her. I'm willing to explore more of what makes me happy, maybe even take some risks. Now you're talking, Mark replied, his smile returning, illuminating his face. So what's next on the adventure agenda? Emily glanced around, her eyes landing on a nearby carousel adorned with twinkling lights and colorful horses. How about that? She suggested, nodding toward the enchanting ride. We can pretend we're kids again. Lead the way, he said, and together they made their way toward the carousel, the soft sound of music floating through the air, wrapping around them like a warm embrace. As they approached the ride, Emily felt a thrill of childlike joy bubbling up within her. She chose a majestic white horse, its mane flowing as if it were dancing with the wind. Mark climbed onto the adjacent horse, shooting her an amused look. Do you think you'll be able to keep up with me? He challenged, his playful tone igniting her competitive spirit once again. Oh, please, she scoffed, her eyes narrowing playfully. You have no idea what you're in for. With a gentle jolt, the carousel began to spin, and Emily felt that same intoxicating rush of freedom that had carried her through the day. As they rode around and around, she laughed freely, her worries momentarily forgotten. Mark joined in, their laughter echoing like music, filling the space between them with a sense of possibility. This is the best day ever, she shouted over the cheerful melody. I knew you were an adventurer at heart. He called back, his eyes bright with enthusiasm. As they continued to spin, she felt the connection between them deepen, a bond forged through shared joy, laughter, and a hint of vulnerability. For the first time in a long while, Emily felt alive, truly alive, lost in the magic of the moment. As the carousel began to slow, a bittersweet feeling washed over her. She didn't want the day to end. The thought of returning to reality, to the waiting, felt heavy on her chest. Mark, sensing her shift in mood, leaned closer as they dismounted the carousel. "Hey, what's on your mind?" She hesitated, her heart racing as she searched for the right words. "I guess I don't want this day to end. I've had so much fun, and I don't want to go back to what's waiting for me." Mark's expression softened, his gaze intense as he studied her. "You don't have to let this moment go, Emily. You can hold on to it, carry it with you. It can be your reminder that life has so much to offer if you're willing to embrace it." His words washed over her like a gentle tide, soothing yet invigorating. She felt a swell of emotion rise within, a mix of gratitude and longing. "You're right. I just need to remember that I can create more moments like this, even amidst the chaos." "Exactly," he said, a warm smile crossing his face. "And if you ever need a partner in crime for your adventures, just let me know." The invitation lingered in the air, bringing a rush of warmth to her cheeks. "You might just have a deal," she replied, her heart fluttering at the thought. Mark's gaze held hers.